On October 25, 1918, the Canadian Pacific steamship Princess Sophia sank after striking Vanderbilt Reef in Alaska's Lynn Canal on the evening of the 23rd, resulting in one of the most devastating maritime disasters in North American history. All 343 passengers and crew perished, leaving a lasting scar on the communities of Alaska and Canada. Despite the magnitude of this tragedy, it remains relatively obscure compared to other maritime disasters. She was a regular on the route from Skagway, Alaska to Vancouver, British Columbia, serving miners, families, business travelers, and soldiers returning from World War I. When the ship left Skagway on October 23, 1918, it faced worsening weather. By the time it entered Lynn Canal, a narrow and notoriously treacherous waterway, a fierce storm had already taken hold. As the ship battled high winds and heavy seas, it veered off course and struck Vanderbilt Reef, a rocky outcrop submerged just below the surface. Though the vessel was stuck on the reef, it remained intact. Hope initially ran high that the passengers and crew could be rescued once the storm abated. For nearly 40 hours, the ship remained stranded on the reef, and nearby ships waited for a break in the weather to attempt a rescue. The crew aboard the ship reportedly maintained a calm demeanor, reassuring passengers that help was on the way. However, the storm intensified, and the freezing waters and high winds prevented rescuers from reaching the ship. Jack Maskell, the wireless operator aboard the ship, displayed immense courage as the ship faced its doomed fate after striking the reef. In the final hours of the disaster, while continuously sending distress signals, he wrote a poignant farewell letter to his fiancée. Aware that rescue was unlikely due to the brutal storm, he expressed his love and sorrow, knowing they would never meet again. His letter, found in the wreckage, stands as a heartbreaking testament to the human toll of the tragedy. And on the evening of October 25, 1918, disaster did strike. With the storm showing no signs of relenting, the Princess Sophia was violently torn from the reef by the pounding waves. Within moments, the ship sank beneath the icy waters, leaving no survivors. The bodies of many victims, including women, children, and soldiers, washed ashore in the days that followed. Among those who perished were entire families, miners, and war veterans who had survived the horrors of World War I, only to meet their end in Alaska's unforgiving waters. The tragedy sent shockwaves through both Alaska and Canada. Grief-stricken families, many of whom had lost multiple relatives, demanded answers. In the ensuing investigation, criticism was leveled at the rescue efforts, particularly over the inability to reach the ship in time. Some questioned whether the captain and the crew should have attempted to abandon the ship earlier, despite the conditions. However, the ferocity of the storm, coupled with the treacherous geography of Lynn Canal, made rescue attempts nearly impossible. Though this disaster was overshadowed by the global events of 19, including the conclusion of World War I and the deadly Spanish flu pandemic, it remains one of the deadliest maritime tragedies in North American history. The wreck of the Princess Sophia now lies at the bottom of Lynn Canal, a silent testament to the dangers of sea travel in the unforgiving northern waters. Today, this is a story commemorated in memorials and historical accounts, but it is far less well known than it should be. The 343 lives lost in the cold waters off Alaska deserve to be remembered, not just for the tragedy they endured, but for the lessons learned about safety, nature, and the unpredictability of the sea.